disabilities. Oh. If you had 3 minutes to break the mold, what would you do? What would you say? If you know me, you'll know that I have a lot to say. So, the producers of this show, they gave me a time limit. 3 minutes. So in just 3 minutes, I'd love for us to discuss diversity, what it really means, and who's been left out of that conversation. In a previous episode, we spoke about an open letter to the music industry. In this letter, a big topic was addressed: accessibility in the industry, the music industry. This letter also discussed the difficulty of finding and keeping a manager that knows how to help a person with disabilities navigate the music industry. Now it's time for, you guessed it, facts and stats. In a previous episode, we also discussed how United Nations Convention on Rights of People with Disabilities recognizes the rights to participation in cultural life as important for both people with disabilities and their communities. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities recognizes that the right to participating in cultural life is important both for the person with disabilities and their society, and is also important in creating access to learning and the development of self. All this being said, why isn't much more discussion being had about accessibility in the performance and music industries? Precious Perez is a classically trained pop, R&B, and Latin singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. She's also a published children's author. Her goal is to make a difference doing what she loves and showing the world that people who are blind are just as capable as everyone else. Precious Perez is also the vice president of RAMPT. RAMPT connects the music, entertainment, and event industries with a fast-growing global network of established music professionals who have disabilities. Founded in 2021, RAMPT came out of a discussion with the Recording Academy and music professionals about the lack of visibility and representation for individuals and musicians who have disabilities. RAMPT helped make the 64th Grammy celebration more accessible by including accommodations such as ASL and more visible ramps. RAMPT was named the Zero Project honoree for its innovative solutions. Without further ado, please welcome Precious Perez to 3 Minutes with Ifu. Tell us about your background. How did you get to where you are today?
Right.
All the twists and turns. Let's talk about that.
I knew that I loved music from a very young age. I don't have musical people in my family, but my family loves music. So my mom played everything from like Mary J. Blige to Daddy Yankee to like this, that, and the other. Because I'm Puerto Rican, so you know I gotta.
Boricua.
Boricua all the way. You know, I was really, really painfully shy when I was a kid.
Okay.
And the teacher had sang like, she was like, "Good afternoon, da da da," and then I sang it back, and she was like, "Wow, Precious, you have a really nice voice.
Like you can sing."
And I was like, really? You know, because I hadn't, you know, family's nice to you. They're gonna tell you, they're gonna hype you up regardless. And then I got private voice lessons. I got a scholarship through the Handel and Haydn Society in Boston, because that's where I'm originally from. I grew up in Chelsea, Mass, and I got into Berklee College of Music. I had an amazing vocal instructor who really helped me learn how to belt and like transition what I knew from classical and that technique into all other styles. You think blind musician, you think Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder. They're amazing. I love them. But they're men.
Ooh.
I'm not a man. I'm a woman and I'm a Latina. So we need to represent. You know? So I released my first album in 2016, and that was kind of the start of my career.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Precious Perez everywhere.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because representation is a big part of what I want us to talk about. You know, of course, we did some research on you and on RAMP, you know, prior to you coming on the show, and I know that, you know, like last year's Grammys, you know, RAMP was a really big portion of creating representation, visibility, and accessibility. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. So RAMPT is a global network of disabled musicians. Essentially, we are the hub for where people in the industry can go to find musicians with disabilities. Last year was RAMPT's first time consulting with the Grammys on accessibility ASL, ramps, making sure that viewers at home could have audio description and captioning and ASL visible. And then this year, the Hollywood Reporter put out a piece on everything we've been able to accomplish since then. There was ASL interpreters on the pre-show red carpet, and there's no excuse for saying, oh, well, we couldn't find them.
Right.
Because we're here. We're here for all disabilities, not just blindness, not just wheelchair users, everybody with visible, non-visible disabilities, physical disabilities, that are musicians or music professionals. We are not only elevating ourselves as individual artists, but we are elevating the movement and bringing disability into pop culture.
Yeah, yes.
Showing society, and I think the industry, that we're here and we're competitive and we are professional and we deserve to be treated as such. Just because we have a disability does not mean that we are less than.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is such an important conversation to be had.
Absolutely.
Such an important conversation. There are so many creatives, so many musicians, so many, artists of all backgrounds that have disabilities that because they haven't seen themselves on stage or seen themselves in a position,
they don't believe it's possible.
They don't believe it's possible.
So personal to me too, because I didn't know, years ago when I started doing this on my own, I didn't know if I could get here even. If I told myself when I was 18 that I'd be going to the Grammys, that I'd be vice president of such a groundbreaking organization, that I'd be able to kind of help be a part of tearing down these barriers, I probably wouldn't have believed it. Yeah. So if I can do it, you can do it. Yeah. And it's hard. It hasn't been easy, it still isn't, but I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful for the support that I now have, through Ramped, and the opportunities that I now have to not only uplift myself, but to uplift the movement and all of my intersectionalities is just really powerful.
Yeah. For the industry just really needs to shift and create more, like you mentioned, visibility, accessibility, and space for different voices, different professionals, people of different backgrounds.
Absolutely, because we are different diversities within leadership. Yeah. There's also intersectionality with not just disability, but our backgrounds. Yeah. And we're not only representing disability, but as you said, intersectionality in that way, and it's so important.
So what has been the biggest barrier or the biggest challenges that you all have faced in creating accessibility in the music industry?
I think the biggest barriers really boils down to perceptions. People aren't aware that people with disabilities are really out here doing this. I think it really boils down to just people not being aware. But disability is still taboo to a lot of people, to society, because the truth is that disability is the one diversity left out of a lot of diversity conversations.
Typically speaking, when disabilities are discussed, it tends to be more like physical disabilities, right? But I would love to know what plans or what initiatives does RAMPS have in place to promote individuals who are neurodivergent or who have invisible disabilities?
And we have members that are neurodivergent or that have chronic illnesses, things like that, making sure that we really take the time to not only listen to their experiences, but uplift their experiences in all of the communications that we put forth and in all of the consults that we do, to make sure that we are including not only physical disabilities, but also neurodivergent and also, invisible disabilities. I think the more that organizations like ours can collaborate, the better off everybody will be for it.
I could agree with that. So, let's go ahead and do it. Let's get it done then.
Let's do it.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being part of 3 Minutes with Ifu. I truly, truly appreciated this conversation, and thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much, Precious, for being a part of today's 3 Minutes with Ifu episode. And I look forward to the work that we're going to do together.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. That was so good. Oh my God.